Hello everyone. This video would focus on simple interest. Before we go over this example right here, we remember that the formula for interest is I equals PRT, where our I stands for the interest, P for the principal, R stands for the rate, and T stands for time. In this video, we are going to have an example where we are going to find for the interest I, another example where we're going to be asked to solve for the principal P, another example will ask us to determine the rate, and another example where we are going to figure out the time. So let's go back to this example right here. Brian invested $1,500 in a savings account that pays a simple interest rate of 1.3% annually. How much money will Brian have after 5 years? In order that we can solve this problem here, we need to determine what are these numbers that are given to us. So first, we are going to determine what is this $1,500. So looking at this problem right here, we can go ahead and say that this $1,500 is actually the principal. So I'm just going to label that as P is equal to 1,500. We also have another given right here, an interest rate of 1.3%. So this 1.3% here is the rate. So I will label that as R is equal to 1.3%. Now, we remember that rate has to be in decimal. We can actually do this by dividing 1.3 with 100. So that would be 1.3 divided by 100, and that is equal to 0.013. So then another way to do that is actually to move the decimal point 2 places to the left. So that would be 1, 2. So then you add 0 before that. So adding 0 and you put the dot here, that still gives us 0.013. And then we also have another given right here. It says that it is in after 5 years. So that's actually the time. So I'm just going to label that as T is equal to 5 years. So in this problem here, we are asked for the total money in the bank. So then we go ahead and solve for I. So using the equation that we have here, we have our P, we have the R, we have the T, so we're solving for the I. So I'm just gonna write I as a question mark right here. So then we can go ahead and plug these values into this equation that we have here after we've written all the given. So I will write the equation up here. Okay, so we plug the values in. First, we have our principal is 1,500. So I'm going to write 1,500 here. And then the rate is, again, it should be in decimal. So that is 0.013. And then the time here is 5 years. So I'm going to write 5 right here. So then we multiply all these 3 together. This would give us $97.5. So this is the interest I. Now in this problem, we are asked to determine the total amount of money that he has in the bank after 5 years. So that means we are going to add this interest into the principal. So then we can go ahead and show the work down here. So that would be, we can label this as the total amount. A is actually equal to principal plus the interest. So then the principal is 1,500 plus he was earning $97.5 for this length of 5 years. So we're going to add that to the principal. So that's 97.5. So then the total amount in the account at the end of 5 years would be $1,597.50. So this is the total amount in the account. At this time, I would encourage you to pause this video and try this problem out on your own. And when you're done, unpause it and check your answer. Okay, so we go over the problem here. So Christine invests $3,000 in an account that pays an annual simple interest rate of 2.75%. How many years will it take for her to earn $495 in interest? So what are we going to do here is we write the given. So what are the given in the problem? So we go ahead and look it up. So all of these values that are given to us actually stand for a particular quantity. So we're going to start with 3,000. So looking at this 3,000 is the principal. So I'm going to write P here is equal to 3,000. And then this 2.75% here is the rate. So I'm going to label this as R is equal to 2.75%. Again, we need to change this to decimal form. We can do that by dividing this by 100. So that would be 2.75 divided by 100. And that gives us 0.0275. Or again, you can move the decimal point 2 places to the left, and that should give us the same value. So then we go ahead and move on to the next given right here. So this is $495 in interest. So that is our I. So this is $495 in interest. We are asked how many years. So we are looking for the time. So looking at this equation right here, we have our P, we have our R, we have the I, we're looking for the T. So I'm gonna write T here is question mark. So then we go ahead and plug these numbers that are given to us into the equation. So I'm gonna write the equation up here. Okay, so our interest is 495. So I'm gonna plug that into the I. So 495 is equal to the principal is 3,000. So I write 3,000 right here. And then we have the R is 0.0275. So 0.0275. The T is missing. So it was a question mark. So we can keep that as a variable T. So then what are we going to do is we are going to multiply these two together. And then that would actually give us, that's 495 is equal to multiplying these two gives us 82.5. So that is 82.5 T. So we are going to solve for T. That means we are going to divide both sides by 82.5. Divide this by 82.5 so we can cross these two out. So we are left with T is actually equal to 6. So dividing both of these, that would give us 6. It's going to take 6 years for Christine to have $495 in interest in that account. Did you get the same answers as this? Good. Perfect. Now let's move on to the next example right here. At this time, I would encourage you to pause this video and try this problem out on your own. And when you're done, unpause it and check your answer. Okay, so we go over the problem here. Again, we are going to determine what are the given in this problem right here. So we start with 4,500. So it says in the problem that Joy invests 4,500 in a savings account. So this means that our principal is 4,500. So I'm just going to write that up here. So that's 4,500. And then it says that in 8 years, so this represents the time, T is 8, and then he earns $810 in interest. So that's I right there. So that is 810. So again, we got the 8 here, that's 8 years, and then we got the 810 up here for the interest. We are looking for the annual interest rate. So the question mark that we're going to have here would be R. So R is missing. So again, we have here the formula for interest. We are given the principal P. We are given the time T. We are given the I, the interest, and we are looking for R. So then we go ahead and plug these values into the equation. So the equation for the interest is I equals P RT. So then we plug the values in. Our I is 810. And then our principal is 4,500. And then our R is missing, so we keep that as letter R. And then our time is 8. So then what are we going to do is we multiply these two together. And then that would give us 810 is equal to 4,500 times 8 is actually 36,000. So I write 36,000 right there and we keep the R. So then we are going to solve for R. We can actually do that by dividing both sides by 36,000. So I divide this by 36,000. I divide the same thing on the left side. That's 36,000. So we can cross these two out. So we are left with R is equal to, if you divide 810 divided by 36,000, that would give us 0.0225. But then we want the R in percentage. So what are we going to do is we are going to multiply this by 100%. So R is actually equal to 0.0225 times 100. And that will give us 2.25%. So if you use calculator, that is 2.25%. This means that this savings account is earning 2.25% every year. Did you get the same answer as this? Good. Perfect. Now let's move on to the next example right here. Godi invested in an account that pays an annual interest rate of 3.7%. After 7 years, she earns 1,295 in interest. How much money did she invest in this account? So again, we are going to determine the given for this. So I'm just going to write that down here. And then we are looking for the amount that she invested, which is actually the principal. So that is represented as letter P. So in this formula that we have here, we are given the R is given to us, the T is given, the I is given, and we're solving for P. So then we go ahead and show the work on the side right here. We plug the values in. So we start with the I. Our I is 1,295 is equal to the principal is missing. So I write that as letter P. Our R is 0.037 and the time here is 7. So what are we going to do is we multiply these two together. So I'm just going to rewrite this as 1,295 is equal to multiplying these two gives us 0.259. And we still have a P, so we keep the P as a variable. That's the one that we're looking for. So then we can go ahead and solve for P by dividing both sides by 0.259. Divide this by 0.259. So we can cross this out and we're left with the P, and that's the one that we're looking for. So P is actually equal to, when you divide these two together, that would give us 5,000. So what's going on here is that Godi actually invested 5,000 in that particular savings account, such that after 7 years, she actually earned $1,295 in interest. Did you get the same answer as this? Good. Perfect. If you find this video helpful, hit like and subscribe for more math videos. See ya.